Thank you so much for joining this study. I really appreciate your participation. From what I've seen, it looks like you have quite a special kind of aura, and I am very much looking forward to documenting that. Now, our study is centering on how the aura may present through a variety of different mediums. Does it change? Does it stay the same? What similarities and what differences might we expect when we try to document it, record it through different kinds of material? Now, I am going to be using Kirlian Photography. We're also going to be accentuating and photographing your aura without any other intervention. And I'm also going to be drawing your aura by hand. Now, I won't be able to see what the images look like with your aura with the Kirlian and regular photography. So I won't be able to compare until I get to the editing stage what differences there might be, or if they look quite similar. Now, with Kirlian photography, one does not actually need a camera to view it. However, to record the process, I am going to be using a very special camera here. Now, you may have noticed that the room is quite dark and there is a big plate behind you. Now, I am going to be having you lean against that plate and using a fun combination of electricity, conduction, that sort of thing. We are going to be looking at the coronal discharge that your body makes and looking at your aura that way. Now, I do have a little checklist that I need to make sure everything is in order with. I primarily just have to turn the electricity on and photograph what I see, but we do want to make sure that everything is safe. We have our conductive liquid, we have our electricity. So, Kirlian photography is a type of electrography, and it was discovered in 1939 by a Semyon and Valentina Kirlian. Just make sure that part is secure. Right here. And Semyon was an electrician who was fixing lab equipment in a hospital and had noticed that a patient that was being treated, they used a plate and electricity, and he saw the electricity coming off it and decided to try that himself. And it works by ionizing the water or the moisture in what's being photographed. So if you have more water or moisture, the colors come out a lot brighter, the image is a lot more distinct. So after I make sure that this is as it should be, we're going to give you a little spritz down. Let me get a cleaner image. Okay, that looks to be pretty shape. Okay, so I am just going to use a little misting bottle here, and we are going to give you a little spritz, right? Okay, so I'm just going to put my hand over your eyes. Yes, yeah. And if you could just lean back against the plate behind you, and then I'll flip on our electricity. And then we can see the coronal discharge, and it illuminates your aura. So, I'm going to have you sit still. And we're going to take some photos. Sit still. Good. And then we'll do a couple portrait. One more. Let's get a little farther back. Good. And I'm just going to flip that off. And you can rest back in a more comfortable position. So now I'd like to accentuate the aura, and doing this is going to involve what looks a little bit like some strange hand movements, but I am trying to stimulate the outer portions of the aura, make it easier to hopefully be picked up by our camera. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start by just fluffing everything. I'm not going to need to touch you at all. The aura is a bit outside the body, and there are actually 7 layers of the aura, all the way from the physical plane to the casual plane. I'm just kind of teasing out the boundaries, and then let's see where we're at. So I'm just going to smooth my hands over the aura. Now your aura can be quite a few different colors. Generally we see it in the sort of rainbow spectrum. Your reds, oranges, yellows, all the way to purple. We also have white, black, brown. Although black is usually mixed in, as is brown, and white is very rare indeed. Good. Just pulling out the edges, trying to fluff everything up. Fluff, 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 fluff. I really like this portion of the study. There, let's see what we've got. I'm just trying to pull it out a bit. There. So each color corresponds to a little bit about your personality, or if we are looking at the emotional plane, for example, it's almost like a mood ring. Okay, I think I've got pretty well expanded. Now I think I'd like to do some tapping along the aura. And I want to try to stimulate it a bit. Sometimes we have to get a few different kinds of movements to make the aura more pronounced. It's not exactly a science, ironically enough, but a bit of trial and error. You don't happen to be able to feel this, can you? See, that was another possible option for a study, was to see if perhaps we could use different types of stimulus to see if the aura had any sensation to it. If perhaps we touched the different layers with something cold, warm, vibration, if any of that transferred to the person's physical body. Good. So tapping seems to be going well, but I think what I'd like to do here, let me see, I feel like we can get this pulled out just a little bit more. So why don't I just pull the edges? Pull. Pull. There we go. Pull. Pull. So we can get this beautiful bubble around you. And I'm quite curious to see what colors will be picked up by the Kirlian Photography, by the regular photograph. Good. And when I take a bit of a closer look, I'll be interested to see what I can see. There we go. Good. Just pulling this out as best as I can. Just pulling, pulling, pulling. There. almost like a bit of, I don't want to say a rubber band. It will eventually contour better to your physical body. There. Let me just do a couple of quick pluck, 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 just to pull this away a bit. Good. There. Now I am going to do a little bit more of a spritz so that hopefully the mist clings to the edges and then it'll be easier to be picked up. I'm going to put my hand over your eyes here. I think even when I'm not quite trying, it does take a bit of an effort to look at an aura. I can almost see sort of this shimmer around you, like an iridescent sort of bubble. I think that means we have got that quite good. Take this at a bit of an angle as well and see if I can maybe catch the edge. And let's do portrait. And maybe one more, I think. Let me try to get this quite wide. That will be quite enough. There should be quite a few pictures for us to look at. Now, while I have your aura fluffed and spritzed, I would like to get some colored pencils here. And using these different colors, these are the primary colors that one can see in an aura. Use these to come up with a picture of what your aura looks like right now. A piece of paper and we have our advertisement number So first we need a picture of the physical body. We're going to have quite long arms, I think. That will work quite well for our purposes. Now, in order to see your aura, I'm going to be looking quite intensely at you, and I might get a little close. I'm not going to be touching you at all, but what I want to do is I want to focus on a point, and I'm just going to be letting my eyes kind of blur out on the edges. And as I do, as I start to get a little watery perhaps, a little dry, then I can start to see flashes of color around the edges. I'm looking at you, you're looking at me, and right around this area, right in here, almost like an aurora. Just at the edges, I can see a little bit of, give me a moment, just a little bit of color, and I think, so let's start with that. Good. Now, auras are not often just one color. That's actually quite rare. But instead, we can pick up a couple to a few different colors. And depending on how they mesh, how they harmonize, we can determine what's going on in your emotions, in your physical body, health-wise. Let's just look. I'm going to try to see what's around here. We can tell perhaps what's going on with you spiritually. And if the colors kind of create a sort of pattern, or they're really mixing and swirling well together, then this means that your energies are quite balanced. And this is a good thing. But if we see the colors almost overlapping one another, then that can mean that certain parts of you and your energy. So let me take a look. I'm just looking right about here. Certain parts of your energy is overpowering others. And this is where one would be recommended an aura cleansing or an energy cleansing. So the colors often go along with the chakras that they represent. For example, red, which I see a bit of red just right in here. Red is the color of the root chakra, and this can help represent vitality, stability. The root chakra is a lot about the values and your identity, lots of little bits that make up the foundation of who you are. And for someone who's predominantly red in color, their aura is red, then we can see that they have a stable sort of foundation that they're working with. They're quite stable in their identity and their goals. And orange here, that's for your sacral chakra. And I'm just going to see, I caught a bit, just a little hint right over here, I think. So I'm going to just take a peek at that area and see what comes up. The sacral chakra, I think that I do have the correct color here. It has a lot to do with creativity, charisma, excitement, and people may find you to be an emotionally sort of warm person when they're around you. You have that kind of vibe to you. And I might see a little bit of blue over here. And yellow represents our solar plexus chakra. And our solar plexus has a lot to do with our personality and our emotions. Yeah, just kind of feathering this out, getting just the slightest bit of glimpses. There. Good. And it also has a lot to do with your identity. So, people with a predominantly yellow aura can be quite creative. They can be curious, have sort of a sunny disposition to them. So, would you mind just holding your arm a bit out to the side? Oh, good. I was losing some of the definition around the rest of your body there. Okay, so you can put your arm back down. Now, green as well as pink, these represent the heart chakra. And this, of course, has a lot to do with our emotions, our love, capacity for love and compassion. Right here, and then at the edge here, we have a little bit. There we go. So those with a lot of green and or pink in their aura are often very compassionate and kind people, and this is also seen as a very good aura color to have. It's good to see that green in there, or that pink. Let's see down here. Our next color is blue, which I think I'm going to be bringing back out here. So blue is for the throat chakra. This is your seat of communication. And in that you also have expression, how you express yourself, how others see you, and those that have quite a bit of blue in their aura can be thought to be quite intuitive or empathic sort of people. They can pick up on those little bits of communication that maybe other people aren't paying attention to. And purple is seen as a psychic color, spiritual color. And this is the color of your third eye. I'm seeing a little bit right in here. Do you mind just lifting this arm? Yes, okay, I did catch that right, so you can put it back down. There. Just a light bit around there. There. And white is the rarest color. This is the sort of auric equivalent of attaining a sort of enlightenment, and you are quite at one with all people, all things, at one with everything, basically. Then we're coming down, and that's still... Yes, good. So someone who has black in their aura, they are experiencing some sort of negativity or blockage, and then that's something we also would want to recommend an aura cleansing for. Bring this out just a little bit here. Okay, and then if we go down towards the legs, I think I'm seeing almost finished sketching the aura. It does continue into here. So your aura, as I'm seeing here, is certainly a blend. There is some overlap. Not everything is harmonious. But what's interesting about this one is there's not exactly a dominant color per se. You seem to have quite an equal blend of color. Which is not very common at all. Here. I think I have a good picture of your aura. So I have the blues up here. I have this spot of orange right in here. We have the red coming through here. We have a spot of orange right along the side of the body, and then a little curve of red, blue, red, blue, orange, and then all up this side is red. So it's an interesting blend of everything. So we have predominant color, inconclusive, and we have, let's see, other colors, blue, orange, and red. So we have that bit of stability, sort of an emotional safety for others, the excitement, the creativity, and blue for our intuition and empathy and communication. The charisma, which comes with both blue and orange. I think overall, that is quite a nice kind of aura to have. It's fairly well rounded, and while the red tends to be feeding a little bit into, it's getting a little lost by everything else, the blue and the oranges absolutely work quite well together. So you might benefit from getting a little bit of a tune-up, perhaps a little chakra tune-up. But I think I would be quite proud to possess this sort of aura myself. So that is all that I need from you for the purposes of this study. Now, are there any questions that you have for me at all? Anything you can think of that you might want to know about the auras, about what we did? Yes, absolutely. So what I think is going to happen here is we're going to review all of the evidence, and we do have your contact information, so we are more than happy to share that with you. Now, I think the parameters of this study may last for a few more weeks while we gather more participants, and then after that you will probably receive your 2 photographs and a photograph of the drawing of your aura. Alright? Anything else? Alright, excellent. Thank you again for your participation. I really appreciate it. This will absolutely be a boon for our study. You have quite a complex and interesting aura. I'm quite honored to have documented it. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, it would greatly help me out if you clicked the like button and left a comment so YouTube's algorithm registers that it was a good video. If you want to see more of my work, consider subscribing to the channel. I create primarily medical, pseudoscience / alternative medicine, and personal attention ASMR roleplays. But I've done a little bit of everything from historical to sci-fi to fantasy. If you'd like to support the channel, I offer ad-free videos, early access on videos, and exclusive content on Patreon. Or I also have a Ko-Fi link for a one-time donation, or a throne wish list for props and equipment. Thank you again, and I hope you have a whale of a day.